got a good question from our buddy Derek, who's kind of unsure of what to focus on. So what he says is that he's been training for about a month, and twice a week goes to a fundamentals class, and after the fundamentals class is over, they have sort of an open mat rolling session where basically you can just kind of do whatever you want to. There's an instructor walking around if you have questions, but otherwise it's just a free open mat to train with everyone. He says he's hesitant to sort of get into that situation because when he does, he feels like he's being thrown to the wolves. And his question he goes on to ask is, should I start rolling right away? Because he just feels really unprepared for it. So Derek, again, what I think that you're saying in this, the message that you sent is that you're a little unsure of, obviously, should I start rolling, but you're also not sure what to focus on because you feel unprepared and you're not really sure where to start with all the techniques. So first off, thanks for the question. Let me get you to start by thinking about this. A lot of white belts in the beginning focus on what they don't know, right? And it's understandably, it's easy to understand why. When you go into jiu-jitsu, you're ignorant to what you don't know, right? Most people don't realize like how powerful the stuff is. They don't realize the depth, that there is to the stuff. They just see people wrestling around. And then when you start learning the techniques and you start moving around with people, you start scratching away at the surface, and then all of a sudden you realize that there's just this deep, never-ending sort of like depth to jiu-jitsu. And man, when you're a white belt especially, it can be overwhelming because every time you learn a new technique or a new position, you realize just how bad you are at it and how unprepared you are for an actual full roll with someone that knows what they're doing from these positions, right? So first off, don't focus on all that stuff that you don't know. Instead, you're learning techniques in these fundamentals classes, right? Focus on that stuff. That's the stuff you need to focus on. Again, don't worry about what you don't know. Say, I don't know anything about this, but I know something about this. And really try to latch onto those techniques and those positions that you're being, drilled with during those classes. Now, when it comes to the open mat session, here's a piece of advice that I think would work really well for you. Let's say that you and Bob are over drilling in the fundamentals class, and then the open mat session is getting ready to take place. Let's say that you guys worked on full guard sweeps that day in the fundamentals class. Grab Bob, bring him over to the open mat session. Say, all right, Bob, we just got done working on full guard. Let's do some situational rolling. I don't want to do a full roll because I don't know how to do this from position X or Y, right? So instead say, I know how to work full guard. So on the bottom, lay on your back, lock Bob up in full guard. You try to sweep him or submit him or whatever they showed you from full guard. And then Bob will try to be defensive on top and then try to pass your guard. From there, again, if he passes your guard, gets to a dominant position, establishes control, restart. If you sweep him or submit him, restart. Back in the same position. Do this for maybe 2 to 3 minutes and then switch top to bottom. Then give Bob a chance. And then you guys just flip back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And do this for the whole, duration of the open mat. What this is going to do is this is going to add some resistance because a lot of times with a lot of people, they will drill a technique in a passive state, right? Doing repetitions. And then when it comes time to roll, they just roll and then it's out the window, right? They don't even remember any of it. So doing some situational rolling sort of helps bridge the gap, right? So you learn a technique, you're doing passive drilling, and I talk about this in my ebook. You're doing passive drilling, like repetitions, things like that. And then active drilling, I consider this like situational rolling and rolling with resistance. And then you have using the technique in a full-on situation with a resisting opponent who's of comparable skill. And there's the gap, right? There's the spectrum. Here's one end, and the situational rolling can help bridge that gap and help you bring those techniques and really own them and become more comfortable with them in a live situation. And then again, as you learn new techniques, every time you go to that fundamentals class and do the open mat, instead of focusing on the big picture, right? Because again, you don't have the big picture. You don't have all the little pieces in place for that. Just focus on the little piece that you do have from that class. Focus on just that one thing. Do the situational rolling, and that'll help you build up your game bit by bit by bit. And you'll notice that probably over the next couple months, if you do this, you'll realize, oh man, I have a pretty well-rounded game because you didn't let those techniques go to waste. You really worked on those things separately, and then you can bring the whole game together. It's like a little puzzle, right? You're just putting the puzzle pieces together until all of a sudden you can see the whole thing. So, Derek, I think that's all I really got for this one, man. I hope that helps you, brother. Again, it's a great way situational rolling is great at any level, but especially right now where you're beginning. I don't let any of my brand new dudes do full rolling because, again, I don't want them to get hurt and I don't want them to get frustrated. So I make them stick to just the positions. Like when we do our beginner classes, you only do situational rolling, and I think that would be a really good tool for you to use during your training. So I hope this video helps. Talk to you guys next time.